My name is Axel Schulz. So I'm the head of corporate operations excellence lean, and I've joined KAEFER actually in 2015. In my past experience, I was a lean coach and trainer or in different areas of the automotive industry. And exactly what Tyler just mentioned, this is what I experienced when I changed the industries and came into KAEFER, because it's actually quite complex. How can I say? So basically, KAEFER, who are we? We are a family-owned business. We are a technical industry service company, and we have all over the world 5,000 sites. So in more than 30 countries, and we do especially insulation, but also scaffolding, surface protection in different areas, from the shipbuilding to actually offshore platforms on chemical sites, large refineries, or even other plants where we are actually active. So very much in the industrial services. And KAEFER has been on the lean journey for quite some time now. So in 2013, we actually started the lean journey. And that was the time when we had external consultants. They showed us actually how to use the best tools and gain the fastest results. And then in 2014, we actually looked at it. Well, great. Lean is really worth it to spend some time and money in it. However, we are not gaining the capabilities or building up the capabilities. And that is where in 2015, actually, we set up the Lean Development Program. And we actually, together with Tyler, we set up in such a way that we build up the capabilities, because what we said, when we grow the people, we grow the business and the organization. And that was when we started the Kata trainings in 2015, 2000, and the years to come. We actually had a couple of Kata trainings, just the initial Kata training to get everyone familiar, aware of that. And then business units, countries actually selected if they want to do it or not. And for some, in the beginning, it was a little bit overwhelming, this kind of richest question and having the board and everything like this. And in 2018, I was very happy to be part of the first Kata pilot actually within the KAEFER organization. And that was in Norway. And then I'm also happy that Trond actually joined this call, because he was right from the beginning as part of that. And I'm very, very happy and feel privileged that Thilo helped us throughout the Kata pilot. Actually, he conducted all the trainings. The Kata dojos were very enlightening, I can tell you, and I can highly recommend it to you. And we actually saw the benefits of building up the people with the certain improvement in Kata routines. And what our target was always to have the coachings actually every day. However, it was not that easy. And in the end, we had a mix of weekly or daily Kata coachings. 2019, this was when we actually started with distance learning. And we had, first of all the e-learning nuggets and e-trainings set up. However, already at that time, I remember the discussion which I had with Thilo about, hey, can't we actually make remote coaching for people who have already gone through the Kata training? And we had this kind of concept in the cupboard, and we prepared it, but we didn't roll it out at that time. So the Kata pilot in 2018 was continue running actually in Norway. We expanded it in 2019, not only in Norway, but also to Spain and the UK. And in 2020, we wanted to go beyond what we actually were doing. But all the time, actually, our job was, or we focus especially on the traditional Kata board, or as we call it, the PDCA board, which was face-to-face, and it has a lot of benefits, especially when going Gemma. But as you actually all know, COVID hit us. And here you see right now the surveys results from 2020. So basically what we had a COVID hit for the entire company, like many of you. Our sites were actually operating mostly. However, we couldn't enter to some of the sites. So while in March 2020, 32% of managers, operators, but also subcontractors couldn't enter, we still had it in June some impact last year. And that was actually where the remote Kata Coaching was born, because also our lean leaders, who we call the lean trainer and coaches, they were not allowed to go on site, they were not allowed to conduct any trainings. And this is something when we knew we need to change the way we are operating right now. And similarly, we had on the one hand the current development of the COVID crisis, but also on the other hand, we had quite some challenges because we wanted to implement Kata in Australia, and we were already doing Kata in Spain. And now you see the map of Australia. I hinted there the major sites which we go throughout the country, and it actually gives already an idea of how wide is the spread, because Australia, for many of you who haven't been there, it is much bigger than Europe. It's actually 50% bigger than Europe, and I think 32 times the size of the UK. So it's quite a large site. And if you actually, as a manager, want to visit all the sites which you're responsible for, then you're traveling a lot. And actually you spend most of the time on the road. And a similar situation is also actually in Spain, where we have distances easily of 1,000 kilometers. And of course, we can travel with planes and everything like this. But if you then compare of what is value adding and what is non-value adding, actually value adding in this case would be coaching the people and actually going Gemma with them. But standing or staying in the plane, this is not really helpful. And that is where we actually thought about, hey, we have already trained people of what is Kata and actually how it's actually all set up. So they got the basic toolkit, and toolkit here, I mean about what is it about coaching and how do we use actually the structure of the PDCA board to go through the questions. And that was when we actually started using the digital PDCA boards. So first of all, we actually use the digital PDCA boards, just very simple in Excel and in Microsoft Forms. So basically you had it in a SharePoint list, so on a cloud-based document, and you could always review what was the last step you actually conducted, what was the result of the last step. And we, in addition to that, we did live coaching. So basically, let's say the manager is in one location or the coach is in one location and the coach is in another location. And we had the benefit that actually what we saw that more and more coaches joined actually the sessions than if we had done it face-to-face. So this was quite helpful. In addition to that, I mean, we identified that actually more and more coachings were done compared to the past times where people had many reasons not to join the coaching. They didn't make it to the coaching on time, or had another appointment, or it was too far away. But this is when we saw, hey, with the remote coaching, people who already have a certain maturity, they can do it in a frequent base. And supporting the entire process, we use digital whiteboards like with Miro, or we did live recording, or that in that case, live recording wherever it was possible, that actually, okay, if the person reaches the threshold of knowledge and you actually want to go Gemma, then let's go Gemma. Let's have a look at it. Especially if it's all our own facilities, we were allowed to take actually FaceTime, so live videos, or we actually had recorded videos, which could always be shown when there was this particular question. Okay, show me what you actually identify on site or on the Gemma. And that was really, really helpful, because what we saw is people were doing it more often, and actually we saw also a certain record, because in the beginning we did it hands-on, Excel, very quickly. We needed to find a way to actually overcome it, and also to start in a couple of new countries. But then we professionalized it over time. We did actually create an app. Some countries, for instance, this example you see from Norway, they actually use Miro, where again, similar like in the breakout groups, to the coach had actually access to it, and the live coaching was happening while looking at the board. And this was quite helpful because not only we had it in a digital way, we could always reflect it and easily share it when there were certain learnings, micro learnings, to share it with other countries or other coachings. At the same time, we saw as a learning, hey, this is now in written, but just imagine all the run charts which we are doing here, we can actually digitalize in such a way that we can not only see how often the coaching were done globally, to see the maturity of our Kata coaching, but also to have some statistics running behind it. And that was quite helpful. And this is where I really felt this was a turning point, because we could scale it much more to more organizations, more people, and I would say we used the benefits. Nevertheless, I would say there were quite some challenges also down the way, because we also tried it with new employees who haven't learned from Kata beforehand. And to start right away in the digital form was the biggest challenge. So what we saw as a benefit, person need to learn Kata, preferably in a face-to-face environment, and then switch to the digital world. That's possible. And what we saw is professional Kata coaches, for instance, the ones who also Thilo skilled up and qualified over the years, actually were quite capable of doing it. However, if you had new ones coming in and moving from the improvement coaching to the Kata coaching from the maturity stage, that was quite challenging. And we actually right now see that we are at the limit with the improvement coach Kata, because we don't have enough coaches for the remote coaching. And this is what we are currently working on, to actually build up more coaches and not only improvers. Well, that was a short summary about my remote Kata coaching experience, and feel free to ask me. I also put one example from Norway in there, and I'm happy that Trond actually also joined. Thank you very much.